Support by Total Energies. 70 years of innovation in lubricants for all types of engines.
In this episode, we search for an upgrade from the Chevrolet Aveo.
No, that shouldn't be hard. And we compare SUVs from Toyota, Mazda and Nissan.
And we offer expert advice to a viewer looking to trade in his Golf 7.5 for a GTI.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. Every week, we try to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling or maintaining a vehicle. If you've got a question for the team, you can send an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za and contain as much information as possible, please, as well as a nice picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help resolve those troubling automotive issues, Martin Pretorius from motortalk.co.za and Pogiso Dibakwane from Pogiso Electronics. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Nice to join us.
Yeah, good to have you guys back here.
Okay, let's just get into our first question, which comes from Ati from the Eastern Cape, and who is currently driving a 2012 Chevrolet Aveo hatch. He plans to settle the car's debt in January and is considering purchasing a second-hand SUV for under 200,000 Rand while keeping the Chevy for his fiancée. Ati enjoys taking road trips during holidays with his fiancée and kid and has a Hyundai Creta in mind as a potential SUV. He's also interested in the Ford Puma, despite it being slightly above his current budget. Okay, gentlemen, I've looked for SUVs under 200,000 Rand, and the ones that I've found, I wouldn't touch. So maybe you guys can help Ati.
Well, I've also tried and looked for them, but I think the Creta is a better option. While the Chevy is a bit older, maybe he should trade it in because the book value is very low at this point.
Well, he wants to keep it for his fiancée, so that's fine. I understand. You know, you got to giving it.
You got to give it to somebody else.
Be your ex-fiancée soon.
I think for the money that for his budget, he needs a bit of a deposit so that he can still stay within budget.
But let's say he's got that budget and he's got that saved, and that 200,000 Rand, Martin, doesn't buy you a hell of a lot in SUVs.
Definitely not buy a Puma.
Yeah, well, the Puma's way out of his budget.
Puma's way out of that budget.
It's
but
double his budget.
The Creta is a solid option.
Yeah.
But I'd go in another direction. 2019, 2020-ish, Suzuki Vitara, GL Plus or GL X.
Okay.
They're roughly in that price range as well.
So that's quite a good option to go
That's
for
a great
as well.
option.
Yeah.
They're well kitted, reliable, cheap to insure, cheap to maintain, good on fuel, very spacious, and 7 airbags and strong safety credentials. So which is good for a family.
Great package.
It's a great package in total. Yeah. As for the Aveo, you know what, if it made it to 205,000 kilos, it's probably been maintained really well.
Yeah.
So in that case, you might as well keep it for another couple of years.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he just got very lucky that it's made it to 200,000.
I think he did. I mean, if you look at another issue that he might encounter if he intends to keep it, it's a dealer network and parts. So because Chef is not in South Africa, although you'll find other manufacturer or other parts makers to replace the parts.
The Korean parts, you know, they supply because it actually was a Korean car, not a Chev. It was when General Motors bought Daewoo. So it's basically a Daewoo. So those parts are available from Korean Motor Space. The Aveos are generally fairly easy to get parts for. Two other cars I'd throw in there. I like Martin's idea of the Suzuki, but the Ford EcoSport I think is actually quite a nice vehicle to look at as well. But you just got to be careful of what engine you buy. And I think there's one engine there that really works well in the car, and it's the basic 1.5 petrol. You stay away from the 3-cylinder one,
yes,
and you stay away from the EcoBoost one. The later one has also a three-cylinder 1.5, and which has also got that silly wet belt in it, which is stupid. And the EcoBoost is a rubbish engine. And then you've got the diesel one, which can be expensive to maintain. So in the EcoSport, you buy a basic 1.5, and it's a really good little engine to run for a long time. And one other car which we often neglect, and I think it's a great option to look at, is the Mitsubishi ASX.
Yes.
Also, not a bad car. The only problem with the ASX is obviously you've got to look around and do you have a Mitsubishi dealer near you? Because parts availability is not the greatest for those kinds of cars. So there's three options for you, and one of those three, I think I like Martin's idea of the Suzuki. I think it's a great idea. Then look at the EcoSport and look at the ASX as alternatives.
I looked at the Kona, the Hyundai Kona,
Hyundai
a
Kona.
2 litre.
Yeah.
I thought it's a good idea for him to get one of
Yeah.
those. There's no turbocharger.
What, 200,000 rand deposit?
Normally, aspirated Kona.
It's going to cost a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Only one problem with both the Kona, sorry,
We'll put you in a coma.
and the Eco Snooze. The luggage compartments are tiny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very compromised in terms of
space.
cargo space.
Yeah.
So if you have to carry along
Lots of luggage.
baby's luggage paraphernalia, probably not the best call.
Yeah. So it's the option to go and have a look at those cars and see if they suit your
You know, you
application.
put him off the diesel EcoSport.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. My daughter's got one.
No, they're not bad.
Yeah.
But
The cost of maintenance is not so bad. I did the cam belt for her recently, aftermarket spares and things, not more than 3K.
it's okay if your daddy's a mechanic, but we're going to stop there and move on to the next question, which is from Carlo, who comes from Cape Town. And he's considering purchasing a vehicle that is approximately 10 years old with only 100,000 Ks on the clock. He's interested in the VW Polo Vivo, VW Up, Kia Picanto, Honda i10, Suzuki Swift, Toyota Yaris, and the Honda Brio. How do these vehicles rank in terms of reliability and repair affordability? Well, most of those cars are all relatively, they're all affordable and they're all fuel efficient in that. So which one should he go for, Pogisa?
But hold on, Adam. Before we ask
Give our
Pogisa,
guest a chance.
hold on. I'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
But I want to find a 10-year-old car with 100,000 kilometers on the clock.
Yeah.
That will be a bit difficult. But from the mentioned cars that he's talking about, I mean, the Toyota and the Polo, I would go for those two. I mean, the Yaris, fuel efficiency, cheap to maintain. A service kit for a Yaris, it's less than 1,000 rand.
Yeah. But he also needs to know he's not going to get something with only 100,000 or below on the clock. Not a 10-year-old.
10-year-old, it's a bit...
That's going to be hard.
There's the
gonna be hard to
difficulty.
find.
The difficulty, Martin, I'm sure you agree, to find a vehicle with that sort of mileage, it's going to be the sort of unicorn one, and he's going to pay for it.
Or at that age and at that mileage, it would mean that car is only driven in town. So
Yeah.
the clutch and the gearbox and engine mountings and things might be on their way out.
Yeah.
So these are worth considering.
He would have to find an old Danny to sell him this Yaris.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem, is to find the mileage. You may have to buy something with a bit more mileage on, because you're talking about an average driving of 800 kilometers per month, which is very low for an average driver. But in terms of that, if you can find that, you've mentioned the Polo, the Vivo, which I think is actually not a bad car, although it's got the theft risk, and the same with the Toyota Yaris. Great cars. They are both good cars.
I'd say Picanto or the Swift.
I'd say
Yeah.
Swift, yeah.
Look, the Swift, out of all of those, is most probably,
More
one of
expensive.
them. Sorry?
It will be more expensive, the Swift, than the other vehicles.
Yeah, because of the age of the vehicle. And to find a 10-year-old one is going to be difficult. I actually quite like the Hyundai i10. I know it's a very basic, simple car, but there is also a lot of them around available, because a lot of rental car companies had them. So you may find a 10-year-old one's another story.
I think the one to avoid there would be the Up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maintenance costs on that would be
Maintenance
expensive.
costs and accident repair costs.
Yes.
Body
that means your
parts,
insurance
all those
would be
things
expensive.
Are very expensive, which will make the insurance very expensive
Yeah.
as well.
Just the clutch on the Up is very expensive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had that conversation.
We had
That's the problem with
So that's
you
European
pay
car
the price of the
manufacturers.
car. Half the price of the car is
I
probably
think
the
all
clutch.
the others are fine in this list. All the others are fine options, but the one to avoid would be the Up.
You know, Adam raised a very valid point. His insurance on some of these cars will be his monthly
Yeah.
repayment, practically.
So
on the
there's the
higher risk
Yaris out
cars.
the way.
The Yaris and the Polo, unfortunately, you've got to check these kinds of things. So you go out and you buy yourself a Polo. Say, cool, I bought the Polo, I like the car. It's a good car. But you find that, hang on a sec, the i10 insurance is $350 a month, but the Polo is 1,000 rand a month. So do that kind of thing before you go out and buy. You phone these insurance companies, you can do it online. I want insurance on these cars, and then you can see the sort of what it would cost for insurance, because that's an important point there. We like the Suzuki Swift. It's a very popular car amongst motoring journalists and people in the trade, because it's reliable, it looks good, and it sort of fits the package. But that's our preference. You may get into it and say, I don't like it because it's not comfortable for me. So just move on.
What are they going to say?
Choose that.
What's he going to say?
I don't like
I don't like it.
I don't
Okay.
like it.
Stay tuned, because after the break we compare SUVs from Toyota, Mazda and Nissan.
and Bakkies from Peugeot, Ford, Toyota, and Isuzu. They fight against each other and to see which one is the best. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Ryan is a Zambian teacher working in a rural area on a gravel road, and he's seeking advice on the best SUV to buy among the following: a 2015 RAV4, or a Mazda CX-5, or a Nissan X-Trail. Since he is stationed at the school, he does not need transportation for work. The vehicle will just be used for family trips, backwards and forwards from town. Martin, which one do you think is the best one he should purchase there?
Either the Toyota or the Mazda.
Yeah.
I would not even consider a 9-year-old X-Trail because Xtronic CVT. Sorry, it's
gearboxes are problems.
tremendous issue.
Yeah.
So no, that one's out. But giving the location of Zambia, I think a Toyota would probably be the safest bet.
So the question I was going to ask is, I'm not too sure if he's actually Zambian working here or he's working in Zambia. Yeah.
If he works here, Mazda CX-5.
Yeah. So if you work here,
no theft risk, which makes it better than
in Zambia. I'd say buy the RAV4.
Buy the RAV4.
If you're in South Africa, you buy
CX-5.
the CX-5 by far.
Well, you can buy a RAV4, but it will end up in Zambia.
I was about to say that.
It'll get delivered for you. It'll get delivered back to your little village.
Sorry.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So
You guys laughing about it, but it's true.
the Nissan X-Trails.
But just don't try and use the Maputo border, that's all.
Yeah.
It's closed at the moment.
It's closed at the moment.
So
No X-Trail.
the Mazda or the RAV, or the X-Trail.
I'll go for the Mazda. Look, out of the two, between the Mazda and the RAV4, the Mazda looks far more better than the RAV4. I mean, the Mazda's got plenty to offer than the RAV4 or the RAV4.
It's a prettier car.
I
suppose that's in the eye of the beholder.
It's great.
If somebody's got a RAV4,
and I mean, he says he's going to use it for family purposes.
Yeah.
So
CX-5 is great. Very good car. I don't have any problem. So you've got the same reliability in the Mazda as you would in the Toyota, but you don't have the theft risk. You must probably find, like we mentioned, about insurance costs. The insurance costs may be cheaper. Very good cars, very good looking, comfortable, just ticks all the right boxes.
Right, our next question is from Hilton, who's considering a new Peugeot Landtrek Aveo for 419,000 Rand. But is also looking at second-hand Rangers, Hiluxes or Isuzus. He doesn't need 4x4 or towing capability. However, he is concerned about the Landtrek's 1.9 diesel engine, lack of track record, and potential high parts costs. The local production may improve availability. He prefers Peugeot over Chinese brands and seeks advice on the best bakkie to purchase. Okay, Martin, have at it.
Isuzu. Buy the Isuzu and be done with it. Sorry, the Landtrek, at that price, it does look enticing. I'm not going to argue, but I'd still rather have a second-hand Isuzu.
Yeah, that's almost 50% of a new price.
Yeah.
The new price.
But it's that cheap for a reason. Nobody buys them.
Oh, but don't worry, they're going to produce them locally and then everybody will buy them.
No.
Oh, you agree with me. Good. No.
I think the problem is that there isn't good marketing done by Peugeot for this vehicle. Look, we had the 404. My dad had one.
Yeah.
My stepdad had the 404, and it was reliable.
It was rubbish then as well.
That was when
that was different.
That was when Peugeot was still built up to a standard instead of down to a price.
No.
My
dad had the same 404, and they were beautiful cars.
Yes, they were good cars,
but
and they were very reliable. The issues with newer cars now is that I pick up an engine from somebody else, somebody's building the body, somebody's building certain different things. So
most of the factory is called an assembly plant.
Agreed. So most of these manufacturers have changed the principle of building vehicles. With this particular bakkie, they took too long to introduce it because in terms of bakkies, Peugeot has been building bakkies. The issue is that this one took too long to come into the market.
So,
I would still go for it,
although
the 1.9 TDI engine is a bit loud. But for what is for what he's going to use it for, I would still go for it.
I think
it's cheaper
at the price point. Now, I looked online and I said, okay, I want to spend 420,000 Rand on a Ranger, Isuzu, or Toyota. All of them that I saw were all over 100,000 kilometers. So any of the mainstream vehicles were well over 100,000 kilometers. So you got to weigh up. Do you want to buy a brand new vehicle with warranties and everything for the same price as a more mainstream vehicle with 150,000 Ks on it? So I would, if it was me, I'd be saying, well, if that's my budget and I want to spend that, I would rather buy brand new. Now, the Peugeot Landtrek, driven it. It actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't fantastic. It was just plod along. But if you're going to consider a Landtrek, then you need to consider the other Chinese options, because the Landtrek is a Chinese vehicle. So you want to look at something like GWM, because you can buy a brand new, that sort of price track. You can look at Foton, and you can look at JAC. Now, obviously, when you're looking at those, you've got to consider, where do you stay? Do you have any of those dealers near you? Because you're taking the same risk with any of those three other brands as you would with the Peugeot, I believe. Now, I recently had that JAC T8 on test, and it actually impressed me. It went well, plenty of power. The Foton, brand new double cab, also a diesel version, also at 400,000 Rand.
I must say, I was very impressed with the JSC, although I drove the same one you drove.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was in love with it.
Yeah, the T8
until I found out what the price is.
Yeah.
You know, for 600K, I'd buy myself, like you said, the
Well, that puts it into a different bracket. But when you're looking at the sort of 400K mark, and there are vehicles from Foton, from JSC, from GWN, and some of the other manufacturers as well. But those sort of brands, you know, it's worthwhile to look at because you're taking the same risk. I don't know if you guys agree with me.
Well, look, I agree. I think the only benefit of the Peugeot is that you have 100,000 5-year maintenance plan.
Yeah.
And obviously you would be buying it brand new for that particular price. I think the biggest issues with other manufacturers is that we don't have really a track record of how will this vehicle hold up in South Africa, because we want to keep cars for 10 years.
It's the same thing that I'm saying about the Peugeot, because you can apply that same argument to the Peugeot. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's not like you're buying, like Martin quite rightly says, buy an Isuzu. But if you have to buy a second-hand one that's 5 years old with 120, 30,000 Ks on it, I think if that's your money spent,
the money can get you a 2-year-old X-Rider.
Yeah. So if you can find something in the sort of more mainstream, I agree, the Isuzu is really bulletproof. But those are the things that you've got to consider when you're buying that. I don't think it's a huge risk if you're buying something like a Peugeot Landtrek. Like you mentioned, it comes with a good aftermarket warranty. I mean, the service warranty.
Close to a dealership or service center.
All of those, you've got to look, where's the dealership, where is it near you? Or do you have to drive 200 Ks to have your vehicle serviced? That you need to consider. Okay.
But he should, like you mentioned, new or second hand. That's his choice right now.
Yeah.
That's the only choice he has to make.
Okay, we're going to be taking a short break, but when we get back, we delve into the durability of an EDC gearbox and its long-term performance.
And we offer expert advice to a viewer looking to trade in his Golf 7.5 for a GTI. Hello and thank you for tuning in to Buyer's Guide. Frank from Bloemfontein owns a fully paid 2019 Renault Duster with only 47,000 kilometers on the clock. He is concerned about the longevity of the vehicle's EDC gearbox and turbocharger. With plans to retire in 2 years, Frank seeks advice on whether to keep the car or sell it while it still has value. He is particularly interested in the new Toyota Corolla Cross, but wonders if a CVT can provide 14 years of trouble-free driving, even if it's a Toyota.
Well, look, I think what Frank is trying to tell us is that he's comparing the two vehicles and he's trying to figure out, does he go electronical dual clutch or does he go the CVT? And I think he must go with the Toyota. The CVT offers value and it's much more smoother than the other gearbox. And I think he will keep the transmission and the vehicle without any issues. It's cheaper to also to maintain the CVT, the Toyota. Yes. Yeah.
Martin, your feeling on it?
Well, a 5-year-old Duster EDC Auto means it's the dual touch, and he should sell it before it blows up.
So, I mean, he's got low mileage.
But it's for 50,000 Ks,
at that
10,000 Ks a year.
The thing is, again, it comes down to what was the usage pattern like. Short trips, hell on a dual clutch.
Yeah.
So, and then it's a turbo, so that probably implies it's a 1.5 DCI, it's a K9K engine. DPF issues and injector issues, again, related to short distance driving. So I think in the long term, it's not a good idea to keep this Renault. Definitely not for the next 12 or 14 years.
Yeah, but and the fact that it's only got 47,000 k's on the clock, he's got value in it, like he mentioned.
He can still get
some money for
now.
it. Yes.
So sell it now while it's still worth something, and before it breaks down.
Yeah.
Now, regarding the reliability of the Toyota CVT, probably the CVTs were the best reputation of them all.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with that. Toyota will not put it on the market if it's going to explode within 100,000 k's.
Yeah, unless you're talking, remember they brought out the Versa with an MMT?
Oh,
So they have,
they have put something out on the market that
They canned it after 2 years.
yeah, they canned it.
I think it was an issue of research and development on that
Yeah.
one. They were trying to get into the market too quickly.
That's for another day.
Yeah.
But I'm with everybody here. It's your Duster's got good value now, and dealers would like to buy a car like that because it's low mileage, so it's an easy sell. So they give you good money for it. Buy yourself a Toyota Corolla Cross because it will be bulletproof. It's got a very good, reliable engine in it. The CVT gearboxes, when they get properly maintained, will last as long as the engine. They'll do 400,000-500,000 k's.
And it's actually a really nice car.
Yeah, it's there you go, you said it. And it's a very nice car, so just go and buy it. It's as simple as that.
You know, the other reason...
There's a reason why they
as
sell
well,
millions of them.
if he sells his Renault now with that low mileage,
Yeah.
dealers are found like when you change brands. It means they're getting you now into their brand. So they'll give you a little bit more to sweeten the pot.
Yeah.
So it's time to get rid of it.
Especially at that mileage.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're buying a Corolla Cross, which is a very popular car. So it's like, well, you're coming with a not so popular car. Do you want to buy a popular car? And I've got about 500 people waiting for this. This is what we're offering for your car. So when it comes to the trade-in, in terms of your Renault, look around for other people to buy it. There are plenty of people who buy cars besides trading it in. And to see the best deal you can get on the car, and then take that money and order your Corolla Cross. Do it. That's the way to do it. Okay, now we're going to end off with a question from Simon. He's currently driving a Golf 7.5 TSI R-Line that is still under finance. Now, he's still got 3 years remaining on the monthly installment payments, and he's considering trading in for the same vehicle, but he's looking for something a bit more faster, the GTI model from 2018 to 2020, preferably with less than 100,000 k's on the clock. He would like to know if trading in his current vehicle for the GTI is a good move. Now, remember, guys, he's got a 1 litre manual. Yeah. He wants to buy a GTI, which will be a DSG. So, who are we going to start with? So,
Sell it.
trade it in.
Sell it.
Buy a GTI.
Get a GTI, more power. The only issue is that shop around, make sure you have warranties.
There's no thing is on a GTI is the only issue.
Yeah.
The only issue is that buying used high-performance vehicles.
That is the biggest issue.
That is the biggest issue.
That is the biggest
So
issue.
you would have to make sure that you have extended warranty and you are buying from a place that if you have issues, you can go back and tell them that, look, I have problems here.
Martin, would
But
you
sell
agree
it.
with that, or would you?
If the mechanical warranty covers things like the timing chains, the coolant pump, the thermostat housing, all of those
So
things
it's-
that
Yes.
It's only half an hour show. Eh?
Yeah, it's only a half an hour show. Yeah,
as
that's
long
right.
as it's a comprehensive mechanical warranty, covering, among other things, also the dual clutch gearbox.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just say, you know what, this 1 litre Golf manual, it's not the most exciting thing. Just spend 10 grand and get the timing chain rebuilt and drive it for another 100,000 k's.
Yeah. I quite like what he's got there because that 1 litre TSI motor is actually not that bad.
No.
I think it's better than the GTI motor in terms of its reliability. I know not the performance, but in terms of its reliability and its fuel efficiency, it's very good. It's got a manual gearbox, which we know don't give problems.
Yeah.
So you're buying something with a 2 litre engine in which is known for lots of expensive repairs. And you've got a gearbox which, if it hasn't failed,
It's going to fail.
is going to
It's
fail.
going to fail, yeah.
So for me, I get it. You want a GTI. If you're going to buy a GTI, my advice to anybody who wants to buy a GTI, cool car, great, goes nice, buy it new.
Yeah.
Never buy it second.
See, there's something else here at play as well. This Golf 7.5 of his, 150,000 k's on the clock. That car will be worth nothing already. So he will get nothing for it. And because he's interested in the GTI, he will have to pay a price premium for it.
Yeah.
So he will end up underwater if he goes this route. I'd say just spend a little bit on the Golf,
Keep your TSI.
Well, wait until it breaks and then fix it.
No. Preventative maintenance.
Preventative maintenance. Listen to Martin, preventative maintenance. Yeah, okay.
And with that, we come to the end of this week's show. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Bakkies, for joining us and all your useful tips. Thank
Always
you so
a
much.
pleasure.
And until next time, please buckle up and stay safe on the roads.
Quartz by Total Energies, driving lubricant innovation for all types of engines.